Hey guys, tonight we slip into the warm, dim hum of an upscale restaurant just outside town. There's soft jazz bouncing off the clink of glasses, waiters weaving between tables with trays of prosciutto and sparkling water. And you're tucked at the end of a long family table, elbows practically touching the linen napkin dispenser. You're the quiet one, the one they said wouldn't make it. And tonight, it's your brother's engagement dinner, the golden boy's big moment. You stir your water glass absently, catching snatches of conversation drifting down the table. Your dad's boasting about your brother's new job title, senior product lead at some firm you've never heard of, but apparently should have. Your mom laughs a little too loudly when a relative jokingly asks if the other one ever found a job. You smile politely, taking it all in, knowing full well you're not supposed to correct them. Not yet. The restaurant smells like truffle oil and roasted rosemary. You focus on the ceiling tiles to ground yourself, like you used to as a kid when they yelled. That old habit never really left. Historians still argue whether the Roman custom of dining while reclining was about relaxation or pure dominance. And sitting here, it sure feels like the latter. Especially when your brother's fiancée walks in, shimmering in something silky, and everyone's head turns like she's Helen of Troy. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I'm genuinely curious who's winding down with us tonight. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You try not to stare when she walks past, but it's impossible not to notice the way her perfume lingers, just the faintest touch of jasmine and something else. Maybe bergamot. She doesn't even look at you at first. Why would she? You're just the brother. The shadow. The family's designated disappointment. Your fork scratches the plate as you pretend to focus on the overcooked chicken breast in front of you. Conversations blur together. Stock portfolios, destination weddings, someone's timeshare in Cabo. You nod when spoken to, smile when expected. It's the same dance, and you've memorized the steps. But then, like a dropped wine glass slicing through the noise, you hear it. Wait, you're Michael Carter? Her voice is low, confused, like she's solving a riddle in real time. She's looking at you now. Actually looking. The room freezes. Your father's mouth hangs open, fork paused mid-air. Your mother turns to you slowly, eyes wide. It's like one of those mid-2000s reality shows where a secret twin shows up halfway through the season and ruins everyone's fake life. You clear your throat, suddenly aware that all eyes are on you, and you're not ready. It reminds you of something from history class. When King Tutankhamun's tomb was first opened in 1922, the world gasped. Not because of gold, but because they thought the past had been buried for good. Historians still argue whether the curse of the pharaohs was real or just media hype. But in this room, you're pretty sure the curse is alive and well. And it's wearing your last name. You smile slowly. Yeah, you say. I'm Michael Carter. And just like that, the whole room tilts. You don't even blink as your name hovers in the air like incense smoke. Sweet, cloying, hard to ignore. It's been years since anyone in this family said it without an edge, a sneer, or a deep sigh. But from her? It came out like a discovery. And now? She's blinking rapidly, mouth partway open, her hand still hovering over her wine glass as if she forgot what it was for. You look back down at your plate, but the chicken's gone cold. You wonder, do they know? Has she figured out what they buried? The thing your parents tried so hard to erase, that they told everyone you'd failed, that you dropped out, that you were off finding yourself, the family's favorite euphemism for shame? Your brother's clearing his throat like he swallowed a marble. He's my brother, he says, like it's news. His fiancée turns to him slowly, like someone turning a page and realizing the book's not fiction. It's a confession. You stretch your neck, roll your shoulders, keeping your expression loose. It feels a bit like standing in front of the Council of Nicaea. Remember that? Back in 325 AD, when they all gathered to hash out what was real theology and what was just bad PR. Historians still argue whether it was divine guidance or a political arm wrestle. Right now, you're leaning toward the latter, given the number of fake smiles circling the table. She looks at you again. You're the one who... She trails off like the sentence is too hot to touch. Your mother jumps in like a defensive linebacker. He was just helping out tonight. Michael doesn't live here anymore. It's meant to close the case. But the lid doesn't fit anymore. And you? You just take another bite of cold chicken and wait. Your mother's voice echoes in the silence, clipped and too quick, like a magician trying to distract the crowd while hiding the trick up her sleeve. But no one's applauding. In fact, your brother's fiancée is still staring, not rudely, but like someone recognizing a famous painting they thought had been lost. You sip your water slowly, letting the moment thicken. The clink of cutlery has stopped. It's the kind of silence that used to follow you in high school assemblies when your parents showed up, red-faced, accusing the principal of ruining your future while you just sat there, watching dust specks dance in the sunlight. She leans closer and whispers again, barely audible. "You're the Michael Carter?" You nod, just once. Her eyes widen, a cocktail of shock and something else. Admiration? Curiosity? It's hard to tell through the polite chaos erupting at the table. Your father shifts in his chair, jaw tight. He launches into a story about how your brother just got promoted. A tale as shiny and hollow as a 1950s Cold War propaganda poster. You remember those? All clean lines and gleaming futures, masking the trembling fear underneath. Historians still argue whether those images uplifted people or just numbed them into submission. Right now, you're watching your parents attempt a similar feat, airbrushing the past as if you aren't sitting right there. Across the table, a younger cousin asks softly, "Wait, what did you do?" And you feel every adult at the table tense like a trap snapping shut. You set your fork down, take a deep breath, and say calmly, "I built something. A little thing that works." No one breathes. Except her. She's already Googling you under the table. You glance up just in time to catch your mother's eye twitch. A subtle tick, but you've memorized the entire Morse code of her discomfort. She forces a tight-lipped smile, like Queen Victoria at a séance, utterly unimpressed, skeptical, and dying to change the subject. But it's too late. Your brother's fiancée, Erica, with the impossibly symmetrical cheekbones and a law degree from Yale, sets her phone down gently. "Michael Carter," she repeats aloud, a little breathless now. "You founded Axis Nova?" You nod. One heartbeat, then two. The entire table shifts like tectonic plates after a long silence. One uncle coughs. A wineglass trembles. Your brother freezes with a shrimp halfway to his mouth. The moment feels longer than Napoleon's exile on Elba. 181 days of awkwardness compressed into one dinner breath. Axis Nova wasn't just a startup. It had quietly revolutionized data compression technology. Your name was buried in white papers, whispered in tech blogs, and inscribed on more than one patent. You never craved the spotlight, and that worked perfectly because your parents never offered you any. Historians still argue whether anonymous invention fuels progress more than celebrity-driven tech, you say lightly, dabbing your mouth with a napkin. It's a line you picked up from a podcast. Sounded good at the time, still does now. Your father clears his throat. "Michael's always had ideas," he mutters. "Not all of them practical." You shrug. "Some of them paid for your kitchen remodel." Your brother chokes a little. Erica stifles a laugh. And just like that, you watch the glossy narrative your parents have polished for years develop its first real crack. Small, but spidering fast, like the hairline fractures in ancient Roman glassware that historians still can't explain. Your mother reaches for her wine, the motion deliberate, like she's Cleopatra lifting a goblet of poison, if only to preserve the last shred of control. She still wears that emerald brooch you gave her years ago, claimed she lost it. But it glints now under the chandelier, catching the eye like irony in a Greek tragedy. Your brother, Andrew, recovers first. He laughs too loud, like someone trying to eject tension through sheer decibels. "Wait, you paid for their kitchen?" You nod slowly. "Back when I thought the silence was their way of showing gratitude. Turns out it was just actual silence." The table goes quiet again, the kind of quiet that makes you hear the AC hum, the wine drip from a cork, the subtle pop of tension like bubble wrap under velvet gloves. Erica blinks, clearly recalibrating her entire understanding of your family dynamic. I read your thesis on quantum lattice alignment, she says, eyes narrowed with a smile. Our professor made it required reading. I thought you were some old guy in Switzerland. Nope, just me, living 10 minutes away, apparently invisible. Your dad shifts in his seat, frowning like a Victorian magistrate during a scandalous theater production. You never said you were publishing in those journals. I did, once, during that 4th of July barbecue when Uncle Gary set the grill on fire. Oh, your mother snaps. You pick the worst moments to brag. Historians still argue whether families forget on purpose or just get better at pretending, you murmur, swirling your drink, watching the swirl form little whirlpools of past and present. And suddenly the room feels tilted. Not physically, but emotionally, like your seat is no longer the one in the shadows. You are Michael Carter, and now everyone knows it. Erica doesn't take her eyes off you. Not in that awkward way people stare when they've made a mistake, but in the intense, inquisitive way historians might examine a rediscovered artifact, brushing off dust and assumptions. You taught at Caltech, right? She says softly. Your mother freezes mid-sip. Your brother looks like you just told him the moon landing was real. Wait, no, wasn't real. I was a guest lecturer, you say casually, biting into a dry canapé as if it doesn't represent your whole childhood of overlooked accomplishments. Brief stint. Your father clears his throat. A classic stall tactic. I mean, Michael's always had potential, but he struggled with socializing, you cut in. Or was it breathing? I lose track. Andrew scratches his neck. Mom and Dad said you dropped out, that you didn't even graduate. You hum, reaching into your jacket. You pull out a slim, faded card, your doctorate certificate, laminated, weathered, and honestly a bit crinkled from living in the back of your wallet for a decade. Didn't drop out, just dropped off the radar, which, as you can tell, wasn't hard in this family. A beat of silence. Even the waiter backing out of the room looks mildly horrified, like he wandered into the wrong scene in a period drama. You lean back. Funny thing, historians still argue whether Galileo was silenced because of science or politics. Either way, he kept looking up. Alone. And now? Erica whispers. You smile. Now I've got better company. That flicker in her eyes, respect, maybe something more, reminds you that sometimes vindication doesn't arrive with thunder. Sometimes it arrives wearing a bridesmaid dress and quoting your footnotes. And suddenly, you're not the forgotten brother anymore. You're the one they underestimated. And they've just realized it might cost them everything. The air is thick now, the way a room feels after someone drops a plate. Not shattered, just teetering on the edge. Your brother's fiancée leans closer, lowering her voice. You're the same Michael Carter who published that AI ethics paper? You nod, trying to stay composed. Among a few others. That one just happened to ruffle the most feathers. Erica blinks. I cited you in my thesis. Boom. Not literal, of course. But your mom's grip tightens on her wine glass like she might need it as a flotation device. Your father's trying to recover. Well, if you'd told us, maybe we wouldn't have assumed. Oh, please, you reply, folding your napkin with surgical precision. You assumed I failed before I even walked out of high school. Remember when I tried to join that robotics competition and you said it was a waste of time? History's full of misunderstood thinkers, Erica offers, her voice almost dreamy. Alan Turing was chemically castrated for being gay, even though he arguably shortened World War II by 2 years. Historians still debate the exact length, you mutter. But yeah, thanks, Erica. She smiles again, and your heart jolts a little. Not because of her beauty, though that's undeniable, but because she sees you. Not the awkward kid. Not the black sheep. But Michael Carter, with all his layers and complications. Andrew stands now, tone sharp. So what, you're some genius? You think showing up here and flexing changes anything? You shrug. No. But apparently it changes a lot for your fiancé. He turns toward Erica, but she's already deep in thought, staring at her ring like it just grew fangs. You know, you say quietly, in ancient Rome, betrayal wasn't just personal. It was seen as treason, a crime against your people. Andrew's silence speaks volumes. Yours? Even louder, the silence crackles like vinyl static, one of those heavy gaps people rush to fill, but not this time. Erica's hand drifts to her necklace, fingers fidgeting like she's trying to make sense of a knot that suddenly appeared in her reality. You sip your water, slow and deliberate, giving her space to unravel whatever's happening behind her eyes. Your mother finally clears her throat. "Michael, if you were doing so well, why didn't you tell us?" You laugh softly. You never asked. It's not meant to sting, but it slices clean anyway. Because it's true. You could have screamed from the rooftops, and they would have told you to get down before the neighbors saw. Besides, you continue, some of us had to learn how to build peace in silence. Like the monks in Shaolin who trained in stillness, waiting years just to be allowed to speak. Historians still argue whether those discipline rituals made them wise or simply repressed. Erica chuckles under her breath. That sounds about right. Your father shifts uncomfortably. "So, you've been working in AI?" "Among other things," you reply. "I help develop predictive ethics systems, programs that weigh moral decisions better than some humans do. We're in testing phases. But they're already being studied at Oxford and MIT. Andrew snorts. Sounds fake. Erica turns to him, her tone sharp now. It's not. I read one of the white papers. It predicted humanitarian risk with 86% accuracy using historical conflict data. That's not fake. That's brilliant. Your brother opens his mouth, closes it. He looks like someone who just realized they brought checkers to a chess match. Erica's still watching you with a new expression. Respect, curiosity, and something that might be regret. "I wonder," she says softly, "how much of your brilliance came from being ignored?" The room seems to hold its breath, every eye flicking between you and Erica. You feel the weight of their surprise, but it's not just shock. It's unspoken questions and the quiet gnaw of guilt. Your father's lips press into a thin line, like he's trying to swallow something too big for words. You glance around, taking it all in. The glittering chandelier above, the faint scent of jasmine from the centerpiece, the clinking of cutlery that suddenly feels intrusive. It's funny how moments like these stretch in warp time, almost like watching a slow-motion replay of a game you didn't realize you were still playing. You lean back slightly, letting your voice soften. You know, historians still argue whether silence is the loudest rebellion or the quietest surrender. You catch Erica's eye again, a small smile tugging at your lips. I chose silence because sometimes the noise wasn't worth the fight. Your mother's eyes glisten. She swallows hard, and you almost expect her to say something. But she just nods, and for once, you think she sees you. Andrew finally breaks the silence, his voice rough. "So why didn't you come back sooner?" You laugh, a low sound, almost tired. "I needed to find out who I was without the weight of everyone else's expectations." Did you know the Great Wall of China wasn't built all at once? It was pieced together over centuries, bit by bit. Historians still argue about its true purpose, defense or display. I'm like that. A wall built in sections, sometimes defense, sometimes just making noise to be seen. Erica squeezes your hand gently. "I'm glad you're here now." And just like that, the room shifts. The quiet grows softer, less tense, like the first snowfall covering a rough landscape. You realize this night, awkward, painful, and oddly beautiful, is the start of something new. The room's tension melts slowly, like ice in a warm cup of tea. You can almost feel the softness settle around you, the flicker of candlelight casting gentle shadows, the faint hum of distant laughter from the kitchen, the comforting weight of the chair beneath you. It's a quiet kind of peace, the kind that doesn't announce itself with fireworks but whispers through the cracks. You breathe in deeply, the air carrying hints of pine, and the faintest trace of cinnamon from the dessert. Outside, the world keeps spinning, busy and loud, but here, in this fragile moment, everything is still. It reminds you of how ancient civilizations once marked time, not by clocks or calendars, but by the changing seasons and the slow drift of stars across the sky. Historians still argue whether those early humans understood the cosmos or just lived by its rhythm. Maybe that's all any of us do. Live by the rhythm, waiting for the right time to step into the light. Your father's eyes meet yours one last time tonight. And in them, you see not the disappointment that haunted you for years, but a tentative hope. Maybe the story he told everyone about your failure was just a chapter and not the whole book. Maybe you're more like those forgotten explorers who vanished from history only to be rediscovered later, their stories rewritten by time. And as you sit back, the softness of the moment cradles you like a lullaby, reminding you that even after the darkest nights, dawn always finds a way. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together.